Hi, this is Hot Girls Build Cults, the show where we explore the art of gathering, the business of belonging, and the people creating communities worth showing up for. I'm your host, Megan Lycan, storyteller, community builder, and lifelong people connector. Each week, we talk to the people creating movements, spaces, and communities that make you say, I want in. And guess what? You're invited. Let's get into it. So, welcome to Hot Girls Build Cults. I'm super excited about today's guest. Kyle Cole is co-founder of the Heroes Journal and also a freelance community consultant. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. I think just to kind of give the audience a little bit of background and context, if you could tell us a little bit about the Heroes Journal. I actually wasn't initially familiar with it, but like once I saw the product, I was immediately obsessed. And it doesn't like explicitly say it on the website, but it's like giving everyone permission to be the main character in their life. And I love that so much. So
Yeah, I mean, you picked up on it right away then. Yeah, so it's the long short story of it is my best friend and roommate at the time. I was at work, he was at work, he texted me, he's like, I have this idea for you. You gotta, when you get home, I'm gonna pitch you this idea. And for context, he had probably pitched me 1,000 startup ideas over the last 9 months. And just all of them were horrendous. And this is something I say to his face, so he's aware of that. Um, and then he pitched me, he's like, what if we made this journal that like made someone the hero of their story? And then we talked about Joseph Campbell's hero's journey framework. We talked about all that stuff. And I was like, this is like actually like a really good idea. And he was like, cool, you want to build it with me? It was like, that was the full conversation. It was like, you should do that. It's a great idea. And then he said, let's build it together. So, fun thing was that he was my roommate at the time. And then like a week into building it together, I decided to move to Arizona. So, kind of just a fun little thing that we did there.
wait, so I didn't realize that you're in Arizona. I'm in Tucson.
Oh, you are? Okay. So I moved to Arizona and then I moved back to Seattle and now I live in San Diego. I've been
Cool.
everywhere. Yeah.
I was like, wait, are we neighbors?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, so I decided to move across the country, and he and I just like after work, I was a sales guy at Yelp. So people who have been called by Yelp salespeople, they have their experiences. I was one of those people. So if anyone who watches this has experienced that, I'm sorry. But after work, I would just go to a coffee shop. I'd get on a Zoom call with my buddy, and we would just talk about all the things this could be. So for 9 months, we came up with the way that it was going to look. We talked about the intro content. We talked about kind of the things that you mentioned with how do you make something that helps someone actually feel like the hero of their own story, not just like two guys saying you're the hero of your own story, but like people can actually take claim for it. So we launched a Kickstarter in 2019 and we raised $15,000. And we were like, this is so cool. I can't believe people are, because the friends and family helped a lot. I'll say it. We definitely like the village came and supported, but there were like probably 100 people who just found it online that bought it. And it was like such a cool moment to make something that people can just resonate with that you've never met, just based off of like a vision for a product that you have. So long story short, we get the journals in, we do our first meta advertisement. It's called Facebook ads back in the day. And we sold out in like 2 weeks. We're like, what's going on? This is crazy. It was like 600 journals. We sold 600 journals in 2 weeks. And so we decided to order 2,000 journals. And then we sold out of those in 4 weeks. And then we ordered 3,000 journals. We sold out of those in 5 weeks. And so we just kept selling them and selling them and selling them. And then in 2020, we hit this big inflection point. So people are gonna be like, what happened in 2020 again? Yeah, this little thing, global pandemic. But the precursor for that is I moved back to Seattle where my buddy lived, and we were shipping out of the house we lived in together. And we actually got a job at the same place, like a same startup in Seattle. And we decided to quit our jobs on the same day and go full time on this thing. This was January 31st, 2020. So obviously, big things were to come. And we ran out of all of our inventory like March 13th. And I think like the stay inside order or whatever.
It was like that week.
Yeah, it was like March 17th or something like that. Something in that ballpark. So we ran out of inventory, had no jobs, and we were just sitting in this house and we couldn't go anywhere. We were just like stuck, right? And so my co-founder was like, let's just go live. Let's see what happens. Let's just go live on Facebook and just see people join our live stream. And we had like 10 people join our live stream, and people were like, we love your journals so much. It's so great. So then we were like, okay, maybe there's something here. We decided to make a lead gen thing, like a little PDF. I'm giving you kind of the whole story so that way we can refer back to it.
I'm loving this story. Like this is what I'm here for. So this is like, and the tiny bits of wisdoms that like happen in how the story unfolds is incredible. So
the big like headline here is there's this famous quote from Frozen 2. Yeah. I know. But there's this point where like they don't know what to do. And they say, what do we do? And it's the next right thing. That is the message. That was like one of our business's core decision-making kind of frameworks was, if you don't know what the long-term decision is, just do the next right thing. So for us, it was very like, we have no inventory. Let's make a free version of our product. And let's put little like side quests in on the page. So the whole idea was people are stuck inside. They don't know how to stay productive during this pandemic. So we called it Quarantine Quest. And we like spent, I think we spent like $7,000 for over like 10 weeks on just lead gen ads. And we grew our Facebook group from 32 people to 10,000 people in 7-8 weeks. We grew our email list from 2,000 people to 40,000 people. And we grew our live streams. Like we had some of our live streams had like 200 people in them. And it was like us doing yoga. It was us cleaning a room in our house. It was like just doing little things, doing the side quests alongside of these heroes. And then also we started calling people who are in our community. We stopped calling them customers. We started calling them heroes, which makes sense, very apropos. And yeah, it was this community thing that just like, it like blew up our business in the most positive way. Like we had people who were DMing us like, what if you made a journal in this color, or you did this or you did that? And people were just so excited about our product. And with all of the shutdowns, also our production timelines were skewed a little bit. So we ran out of inventory in March, and we didn't get inventory back until June. So we started kind of doing like a slow but sure kind of like hype train. And the joke that people would say in our live streams, like, we're going to break your website. We're going to go to your website and we are going to break your website. Like, I hope you are ready for that. And we launched on June 1st. And for reference, so we ran out of everything. We had 3 colors. We had 2 colors that we were bringing back, and we were adding a third new color. It was a green. It's called Wildwood Green. And
at this point, because I've noticed like on your website, like different colors, but are you also referencing like the different storylines?
Yes. So for the first year, this is another tangent we can go down, but for this particular experience, all we did was we took that Lord of the Rings high fantasy storyline and we just made it in a green cover. Like nothing else changed. Just
Gotcha,
green.
okay.
It was red and gray before. Now it's red, gray, and green. And in 4 minutes, we had made $15,000, and we ended the day at like $60-something thousand. And we ended the month at like, the month of June was 3 times bigger than all of 2019. And like I say these things to show like the power, not just to like talk about myself as like an evil capitalist, but like it was just like the impact of like the caring of these people, and our ability to interact with them one-on-one was like, one of the most eye-opening experiences in my life. And so that was in 2020, and from that point forward, community was kind of like at the center of how we just approached the business. Like everything, every time there was a new product release, every time there was ads that we wanted to think of, we were always thinking about how are our heroes going to respond, and how can we give them the best possible experience.
Right, right. I think this is a great place to pause and kind of unpack some of the things that you just
Yeah.
mentioned. Um, First, I just really I love that little piece of sage advice. Like the what is the next? Oh no, I'm gonna fumble it. Like the next right thing.
Do the next right thing.
Do the next right thing. Like that's brilliant. But there was a couple things that stood out to me as you were kind of talking about how it grew, how the Hero's Journal grew in popularity, and how like almost kind of naturally baked in like community was there. Like I guess a question I've been wanting to ask is like, I guess was there a moment where um just like the product kind of led the community, or I guess how did that emerge?
Yeah. So definitely with a goal setting product, a lot more the community activation point is super obvious. Um, Not necessarily super easy to do, because I mean, community isn't an easy thing necessarily, but super obvious. The big thing that we ran into, right, is most people who buy journals don't finish them. That's just the nature of the journal. It's the yeah, right. Like, and like every single person I talk to, they were like, "That's such a cool product," but I've learned that I can't use journals because I never finish them, or whatever it might be. And so you're creating a product knowing that statistically you are kind of fighting an uphill battle. So part of your marketing has to be, well, how do I make this product more than just a journal, right? How do I make this more than just a thing that people won't finish? Um, so we got really interested in, well, how do you turn paper and glue and cardboard into something that embodies something larger, right? Someone's not necessarily buying this because we have the highest rated GSM paper, or they like the linen cover or the faux leather cover, right? Like, people are buying this because it represents something they believe about themselves and about the way the world should be or ought to be. And so we really
And it
focused in
sounds like you
on.
guys really leaned into like co-creating the product with your heroes.
Mhm.
Um, and that like it was something that they were so passionate about, like it that they wanted to provide feedback immediately. And so it was this like, yeah, this back and forth that you're co-creating with your customers.
Yeah, and the co-creating thing is I really am glad. I feel like Tyler, who introduced us, is kind of leading the charge on that phraseology. That wasn't really around. The co-creating wasn't really around in 2020 when we were talking about this, but um, it's a really fine line, right? Because there's the Henry Ford quote about um, if you ask the customer, they would ask for a faster horse, right? So you do have to have a vision and a mission for what you believe the product should be, but also taking into account on the other things, right? Um, in my opinion, when it comes to product, your team focuses on the function. The co-creation comes on the delighting your customer part, right? Like, when it came to us releasing a new color, right, it was like, let's just put a poll up. Let's ask people what they want, right? And then when we name it, so one thing we did is we didn't just have like green, it was wildwood green. And then we'd make these maps of the land that was in the journal, and then we would name a part of the area the wildwood, right? So now you have a journal that correlates to a fantasy map, that correlates to your journal, that correlates to your journey, and it all brings it in. So people were like naming what their town would be called in the wildwood, and they were doing all these different little things, these little delightful things, right? Not necessarily can you make it 4 months versus 3 months, or can you make it 6 months versus it, like, we typically kept those like really important details in house, just because we needed to be able to control the product timeline. But when it came to just like the moments where people just got to hold it and they got to see themselves in it, we really, really love that co-creating moment where you can have it be the color people want, or you can, people can name different characters, and we even allowed some of the lore to be pulled from some of the live streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I like that, like, you guys turned, just, like, customer research into, like, basically from, the customer's point of view, like, an invitation to participate. Like, it's very, um, just relationship building and connection, just the way that you guys are navigating product changes and product updates, so
And then so like zooming out, you brought it up earlier, so I'll kind of close the loop on that one. So then it came time to launch another story, right? So the first story was very Lord of the Rings, high fantasy. Um, for reference, my co-founder Nick he's like super into Lord of the Rings. That was kind of his inspiration. So it was like that was his baby. And it came time for a second story, right? So the question was, do you create a sequel to the original story? Do you go out? So we decided to go kind of a multiverse. So now it's we made a wizard school. Um,
it's giving
so the
choose
wizard
your
school
own
is all like,
adventure.
yeah. So we did wizard school, and then we did a Kickstarter for that 2 years after our first Kickstarter, and we raised $300,000 versus the $15,000 in our 2019 one. And are you familiar with Kickstarter at all? Have you
Yeah,
used
yeah.
that platform?
Yeah, I have.
So in 2021, there's this thing called stretch goals. I guess there are these things called stretch goals on Kickstarter, and they were very much in their infancy during 2021, and we kept setting new like bars for we initially said $50,000, and we said once we hit $100,000 we'll do this, and then once we hit 150 we'll do this, and we kept going back to our community and be like, what's the next big thing that we could chase together? And that was really kind of the fire on the engine that kept pushing that number bigger and bigger and bigger, because they were like, oh, once the big one was we made these little mouse plushies, because there's a little mouse character in the journal, and we made little plushies, and people were like losing their minds. And I think we raised, in just the last day alone, we raised $54,000 to get up to this 300,000 mark so that we could unlock the plushies, so that people could get the plushies. And I remember at one point, like, we had to get on a live stream and say, hey guys, like, we were at like $280,000, and we're like, hey, we'll make the plushies no matter what. Like, don't overextend yourself financially. Just like, we don't like, we want you to be able to enjoy these things. Don't like max out our credit card. Don't do any of that stuff. And like the amount of gratitude that we were saying that with, like, we have people who are willing to do that much, because people were literally in the chat saying like, I will max out my credit card for this.
I mean,
And we're
everyone's like
like,
investing
please
into
do
your
not do
your
that.
business. Like that's such an incredible feeling. Like just showcases like how much your product means to them. And I'm just like as you're talking about this, I'm trying to think of like other products where like the customers like really kind of like were the early investors in the product.
Yeah, it was kind of like our Beanie Baby moment a little bit. Like, it kind of had that feel. I mean, obviously Beanie Baby was much more successful than we were, but it had this feeling in it. And it was just like the amount of gratitude. And every Friday internally we had a meeting called the Tavern Fireside meeting, and we would just like recap the week, what happened, all the stuff. And I would tell people who worked with us, like, hey, like, the fact that you've even invested a minute of your time into working on this project, this dream project for me and Nick, like, it means so much to us. And so that was continuing, like, and there were people who worked with us who were a part of the community first, right? They were people who were in the community. They were like, hey, I have a skill set in this particular area. I think you could use some help. We brought them on, and they were like incredible. They were truly like a wonderful add to the team, and they were also so good at representing the community and what they wanted. And all this to be said, and we could talk more about the like strategy and stuff around it as well, but it really turned into this like living, breathing thing that, like, we migrated everything over into a community platform called Circle, if you're familiar. And there's still a community on Facebook that is like posting and chatting and commenting, and we've like pretty much stepped away from it completely, and they're still in there like interacting with each other because of what
Just like a
they've built
self-sustaining
real
community.
relationships. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like the more sobering part of this whole conversation is um in May, I stepped away from the Heroes Journal, and I've been doing kind of like some consulting stuff and working with some other companies. And I've had multiple members of the community reach out to me individually and just be like, "Hey, like I know that you stepped away, and like I just want you to know, like, thank you so much for building this thing," which has been like a really wonderful moment. And obviously, it wasn't an easy decision to step away, but like the fact that that like this meant so much to at least one person, let alone all the other people who maybe thought that but didn't send the message, is really powerful. So yeah, that's the woo woo stuff. That's like the good vibe stuff.
So powerful. I mean, best case scenario, just you really hit like a soft spot when customers turn into community naturally like this and want to be involved, and you're like actually having an impact, like a positive impact on your community, and it's self-sustaining. And I guess I'm curious, like, how would you say like the energy shifts between a free community and a paid one, or like what motivates your customers to join the paid versus staying in the free community, and kind of like what changes once they're in the circle community?
Yeah, so they're actually they're running it as a free community on Circle. So they're doing it 100% free. Um the methodology right now at the Heroes Journal, and it could change in the future. Obviously strategies change and all that stuff. But right now the idea is buying a journal is kind of buying into the community in a sense, like that is your ticket for entry. Um Although there are a lot of people in the community who have never bought journals but get a lot of value out of the community. So, but that being said, I'm actually working on helping one of my really good friends build a like basketball training community right now. He's a professional basketball player in Europe, and he had a season-ending injury, so he's back in the States for the first time in like 7 years. So he was like, "How do I use my time? How do I help people?" Um, he's built a 75,000 subscriber YouTube channel, so he has a bit of a following for his training stuff. And it's been really interesting to help him try to find a way to sell, because he has a free side of it, he has a paid side of it. So getting people to convert has been an interesting conversation, because he has offered so much free value for such a long time that he doesn't feel right offering a paid gated opportunity for his customers, or his yeah, I guess their customers. We don't have a nickname for him yet, but his community members. Um but the few that he has gotten to kind of build this community with, he did one-on-one calls with all of them, and one of them was like, "Yeah, man, like this is way too cheap. I think people aren't signing up for it because they think it's like a cash grab. It's like, it's too, I need you to, it needs to be more expensive for how much you're giving everyone." Which is
I
an
was just gonna
interesting
say
kind of
something
conversation.
something similar, like when someone's offering that much value, like sometimes it's the opposite problem, is people are like, "Oh, it's actually too cheap," like, um, that they're like more than willing to pay a premium to have like one-on-one access with someone, especially like if, because like they already feel grateful for the experience they've had up until then. Like I know because I'm someone who's hired many coaches in the past, and sometimes it is like the people who are most generous up front, like and trust them. So when they do offer something, you're ready to pay whatever it takes to work directly with them, because you're assuming it's not just a cash grab. You know what I mean? Like it's so he might be experiencing the opposite problem. Like he could just start charging because he's already built trust with his community.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I was part of the reason why it's so low, which I feel bad about. I feel like I gave him bad advice. Um, but we did market it as a beta. So we'll see if once we go into our fully functioning community, if it's more expensive. But yeah, going through all of that, and the interesting thing about selling a community as a product, so that I think that's the other part of it, right? Direct to consumer, e-com, you have a product, and so a community is people who are gathering around a thing, right? And I use this one all the time. I use this as an example whenever I'm trying to explain what a community is to people. Is I use this. My girlfriend got a Dyson Airwrap for her hair. Um, I wasn't 100% sure what it was. Apparently, the girly pops really love
We love the Dyson
Dyson
hair wrap.
Airwraps. Is it hair wrap or air wrap?
Air wrap.
Is it hair? I might say okay, whichever one it is. But I was trying to explain to her like the power of an e-com community, and she was like, "I just don't really get it." I said, "Imagine if you bought your air wrap and there's a QR code, and you scan the QR code and you joined a community of people who also had air wraps, and they were just showing videos of them using it and being like, this is the best hairstyle I've gotten. This is my routine. This is how I use it." Like, wouldn't that be so great? Because it's not Dyson. It's people just like you using the product to show you how great that is, right? So it'd be weird if Dyson charged $10 a month for this because Dyson's Dyson. But if it was like a smaller direct consumer brand and they charge $10 a month to be a part of this community where you get new hairstyles, people are talking about the different shampoos and conditioners they use and the hair masks they use, all that stuff, right? That would 100% be worth it because you're essentially paying $120 a year to supercharge your purchase. Like, that makes total sense. Whereas when you're selling a community as a product, right, you really have to bring that value like right away. You have to kind of trade your time in essence as the owner of the community for the value, like the perceived value of the subscription, I guess. So it is a different kind of equation.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in pointing out just like there is so much difference between like a community as a product versus a community that forms around a product. I mean, I come from tech, but the last 2 years I've been heavily in the coaching space. So like the masterminds, the community memberships, and it's like it's that value, that perceived value that you bring to the community, whether it's like one-on-one time or the quality of the people in your membership or like the courses or content that you're creating um are provide the value in those communities. So I guess like
Yeah.
as a community consultant, are you primarily working with people doing like membership models, or are a lot of your clients like trying to create community around a product, or is it like kind of a mixture of both?
Yeah, so I'm pretty new into the game. I've done a few kind of onboards so far, but um right now I'm focusing on that product e-com community thing. I'm working with my buddy because he's my buddy, right? Like, I was just like, yeah, like, we're co-founders on that project. We're taking charge of it. But like, my real goal with community consulting is helping people see what their higher value that they offer is, right? There is there's this idea in e-com, or even I guess all entrepreneurship, this idea of being a mercenary or a missionary. Have you heard this?
I have not. Enlighten me.
Um, so a mercenary is in it for the money, right? They see a business opportunity, they like the margins, and they say, okay, I can think of it as like private equity, right? Like, they just see the equation and they say, oh, I could put more fire and I could put more wood in the fire and it's going to burn hotter, right? And the missionary is someone who believes in the mission, right? Someone who sees a like an ought to be type of world. They see an ideal in the world, and they use business as a mechanism to create the world that they want to exist, right? So a lot of times what a community can do is it can help somebody either double down on their mission, their missionary kind of perspective, or it can help take someone from a mercenary mindset into a missionary mindset, right? I'm not saying that one is necessarily better than the other. It's just kind of different strokes for different folks, but the the whole thing that a community does is like, let's say I make like the Dyson Airwrap, for example, right? Dyson could say, I want to make a community that helps people see the beauty in themselves, right? Like that they don't have to go outward to go find their beauty. Their beauty is inward, and we're just helping you see kind of the beauty that you already have, right? Maybe that's their higher value for the community. And so that's kind of my thing is I get on these calls with these founders and we're talking about their product, their widget, if you will. And it on paper will seem very straightforward. Like my thing does this thing, right? I'm like, okay, but like, why does that thing exist? Like, what is the pain point it's solving? It's like, okay, that pain point is solving people's hair looks bad. Okay. It's like, well, why would someone want their hair to look good? It's like, okay, what would 100 days in a row of your hair looking perfect do for your psyche? It's like, oh, it'd make me feel really good about this, this, and this. It's like, okay, well then that, and that are now your community's reason for existing. And we are going to push forward information and co-creation opportunities for the propagation of that, and that. So it's kind of like that. And then also then taking a systems brain and putting around, okay, this is what we believe. How do I then show that to the world? It's like, okay, you should do live streams where you show off using your Dyson Airwrap, and then you should have a place where people can co-create and put tutorials, and you should have like X, Y, and Z. And yeah, so it's finding your higher purpose and then systematizing it on the back end to create opportunities for people to actually do the things that will create the desired outcome down the road.
Yeah. I definitely feel like you're filling like in a really important need there because I mean with community kind of becoming such a buzzword and like a tactic or a strategy for a lot of businesses, like when it's not done right, like I guess like you're helping people understand like why communities actually grow and are born out of something and it's like a shared mission, a shared vision, something that's the part that makes it sticky and people see the value in the community. It's not just like, oh, I have a product, I need to I need to have a community as a strategy. Here's my membership, join the thing.
Yeah, it's the difficulty with the community right now is that it is now popular to talk about communities, and so people are just turning it into loyalty programs is kind of what
Yeah.
it's becoming.
Especially on the product side.
And then yeah, it's like join the community and get 10% off your next purchase. It's like, okay.
But
So
actually,
there's
I
that
see it.
part of it. And then the other side of it, sorry,
I was gonna say
you go.
I see that kind of loyalty program kind of happening in the coaching mastermind membership space as well. Is like you can tell when someone is just doing it as a strategy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The thing about like all products is that you can smell the BS. Like it just doesn't come off right. And so I would say that if you don't have a clear idea of how you want the community to be, then don't do it. Don't create it, right? Because it's better just to have it's better to have a loyalty program that just lives on your email on your website than it is to kind of have a dead kind of ghost town type of energy on like Circle or something, or Magnetic. It like just if you're gonna do it, see the value of it and then lean into it, right? It from a purely like operator functional perspective, I just think that a community is a better version of an email list. You're probably not going to get as many people in your community as you would on an email list because email list is like as little effort as possible, whereas community does take a level of effort. But if you think about the amount of times you go to an e-commerce website and you click on the website and they're like, give us your email and you get 10% off your first order, or like whatever, $5 off, or whatever like super normal deal that they're going to offer you for giving the email. It's like, that's not enough yet. Like you have to articulate the value of, if I do this, what do I get? Right. And the community is like a beautiful articulation of, this is what your life will look like if you buy our product and you join our community. Like, these are people who, like you, have the same problems that you have. They are using this product and it is giving them a level of value that helps them live an idealized version of what they thought they would live, right? And it makes so much strategic sense to do that. But the difficulty is that people want to live in strategy and they believe that execution is creating automatic flows or hammering out 10 minutes a week or whatever it is. And like I'm victim of this. Like there were seasons in the Heroes Journal where I did not do a great job of tending to the community, right? Like that is something that happened because it's difficult work. It's hard work. But if you're looking for those outsized returns, if you're looking for that really great relationship and that co-creation with your customer or hero, in my example, then you have to do that work, right? You're not systematizing it. You are like lifestyleizing it and you're making it a part of your day to day.
Yeah. I guess just the last couple questions here as we kind of get close to the hour. From your point of view, what metrics matter most in a community, and which ones do you think are probably the most misleading?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the most misleading is just number of members. Um, I think that like you're never going to get 100% of your customer base to join a community. That would be ridiculous. If you do, give me a call. I want to hear how you did that. But it's always going to be your super fans, right? So it's going to be a percentage of that. So when you look at I get 10,000 orders a month, I have 2,000 members in my community, it's like okay, 20% of my customers are my most loyal customers, something like that, right? Then that's a good indicator. I would say that would say it's a really positive thing. As far as like most positive metrics, I would just look at how many people are using the different things that you're offering, right? Like look at the number of comments a week in one thread versus another. Look at the number of videos posted. Look at the number of X, Y, and Z things that you're trying to do in the community and see if people are actually using them, right? Because that's where you'll see the value. Like, I mean, if time is money and people are spending time on something, that's where they're spending their money, right? So just look at how people are using your community and just double down on the things people are using a lot of. And if people aren't using something else, like maybe you get rid of it or you turn it into something else or you repurpose it, something like that. But as far as like metrics are concerned, I do think that it's a little bit of the Wild West. It doesn't quite have it doesn't quite have like a Klaviyo for community quite yet, where you can see all the different metrics, you can see conversion rate and all that stuff. I know that there are like our mutual acquaintance Tyler, he's building Magnetic, which I've had a chance to see. It's a really cool platform that you can see a lot of these different traditional ecom metrics in. So I think that hopefully that'll be like a part of the future of community. But I think right now it really is, what are people using? Why are people using it? How much am I actually interacting with my customers? Like it really is as simple as that. I wish I had a more MBA kind of answer, but I don't.
No, I definitely feel like that was a quality answer. And you're right. I still haven't seen Magnetic in action, but I'm very curious to try it out. I guess like to wrap things up. So when you guys launched the Heroes Journal in 2020, it definitely fulfilled like a need in that moment. And and I'm curious, like, your thoughts on community in 2026 as, people are kind of just fatigued from, doom scrolling and being online constantly and all of these online communities. And I'm curious if that changes like how you approach building community in 2026.
Um, I think that it's different for sure. I mean, 2020 was like the golden age of being online because you had to be because you're stuck inside your house. But from a 2026 and looking forward perspective, I think that people are really going to respond well to intentionality. I think that they're going to respond with like a level of vibrance and like excitement around people creating programs that get them engaged and get them to slow down. Because the difference between like being online and being in a community and getting value out of something versus doom scrolling is that doom scrolling like speeds you up. I don't know if you've ever started your day like on a doom scroll. The rest of your day is just so hard to just like corral because you're so used to just being able to move forward so quickly. Whereas if you start your day with something intentional, it's a lot easier to do the next intentional thing. So I think that 2026 is it's really about curating an environment for your product to do the most good for people and allowing it to kind of grow and thrive in the way that it needs to grow and thrive. Which is why like the first thing that I do when I talk to a founder about a community that they want to start is what is the higher good? What's the higher value that you offer? Because if you ground it there, then people will have time, yes, on the internet, which maybe people are trying to get away from, but they can attribute it to something that's greater than 30 minutes wasted or 10 minutes wasted or something like that. And one of the other things you can do is if you're a product that is aimed at helping people save time or is around that, or you're empathetic of that, time box it. Be like, hey, we only want you to spend 5 minutes a day on this community. We want to create a community that allows you to take 5 minutes and that it supercharges the rest of your day. You don't find yourself doing X, Y, and Z. You find yourself on task and ready to roll. Because that was our goal at the Heroes Journal, is we wanted to make a physical product that felt like the safest 5 minutes of your day every day. You open it up, you know what the pages are going to feel like. We made pens, like you have your heroic pen that has a sword on it. You have, maybe you light, we made candles at one point, you light your candle. And we thought about this 5 minutes and just having it be a safe place. And the products were something that just so happened to be there during that 5 minutes. So yeah, you can go super high on the value time aspect where you can just jam pack full of all the cool stuff, or you can be super intentional and just be like, hey, I know you're trying to get off your phone. Do these 3 things, go on with the rest of your day. We're cheering for you. We can't wait to hear what happened kind of energy.
Totally agree. I feel like that's super valuable advice. Like, how do you continue providing value in 2026? And yeah, intentionality is a huge part of it. And then one of my biggest takeaway was just understanding your customer, because you mentioned like they may be short on time. So like the intentionality is knowing your customer and shifting with their needs. So how can people work with you now? What's the best way to stay engaged with you, Kyle? Like, work with you? Are you taking clients right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty full. I could probably take on 1 or 2 more clients. So if you listen to what I said and you want to work with me, that's awesome. Honestly, just LinkedIn. I'm Kyle Cole on LinkedIn. You can send me a DM there. I'm usually on there. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. So
Perfect. I'll also include your contact details or the LinkedIn in the show notes. But this has been quite a
awesome.
juicy
Thank you.
conversation. I mean, you made my job easy today. You're just a well of knowledge, and your story is so freaking cool. So I'm excited to
Thank
see
you.
kind of what's next on the horizon for you. And yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, this is awesome.
If this conversation lit something up in you, that's your sign. Share the episode, start the conversation, build the thing. And if you're creating community, hosting gatherings, or building spaces people actually care about, I want to meet you. I'm Megan Lycan, and this is Hot Girls Build Cults.